78% of suicide rates worldwide are men. What can we do to help them? Provide more opportunities to form communities and activities that cater to different men's needs. A lot of us don't have friends or intimate platonic relationships, and we're in desperate need of that. Meetup helps. Best I can think of is a video game group. Me and my friends have recently started a video game book club. We pick a game a month. Everyone plays it. Then we meet up and talk about what we liked or didn't like about it. It can be hard to pick a game, especially since everyone needs to buy it. But there are a ton of great Steam, indie games out there, or old used games you can pick up for cheap. It's been a hit and I can't recommend it enough. Obligatory blow up edit. This thread blew up and I had a lot of people that expressed interest in joining. Given the nature of this thread, I really feel like I need to give back. Someone made a subreddit, r Steam Game Club, in response to this thread. Please join it if you feel like you need people to play games with. I'll be there to help organize Discord groups, discussions, and whatever I can do help get everyone together. Not turn them away when they tell us what they're struggling with. Oh my dog, this blew up. Anyway, I'm so sorry to everyone who posted here sharing their cases of being turned down. I hope you all find someone who is gonna listen and help you. Blue heart, sparkling heart. It's always the same. Oh man, that sucks. But you wouldn't believe how hard it is for me. Quote, edit. This is not just about women saying to men, but also men to men. Thank you for all of your kindness. Don't shame us for asking for help or appearing weak. Was here for this. Stop calling men pussies for having feelings. Humans feel feelings and it's normal, and expressing them doesn't make them less of a person. No matter their chromosomes. Treat us like humans. I was sexually assaulted as a child and frequently tried to harm myself, but whenever I talked to someone about it, they scoffed and said I was telling fibs. And #X200B. Edit. Thank you for all the kind words. Please, if you're thinking of hurting yourself, please seek help, don't go it alone. We like hugs. And #X200B. And #X200B. Just hug PLS. I want a hug. Edit. Wow, that's a lot of hugs. Hugs everyone who saw this. I'll hug you. It's a dude hug. Hands above the waist, big fat guy. So it's like a duvet. Anyone else want one? I'd die for one of your hugs. Probably do something about the male homeless problem. Your last stat I saw was around 85% of the homeless population was male. In my town, there is exactly one homeless shelter that will admit men, even when it's below freezing outside. The rest have a very strict women and children only policy. They'll turn away entire families unless they're willing to split up and send the father back out into the cold. Why doesn't anybody protest? Unfortunately, I doubt the homeless make a powerful voting bloc. Statistically speaking, men work more, work longer hours, work in more dangerous professions, and consume more drugs, alcohol, and other. In addition, men, on average, have fewer close friends and feel lonelier than women. I think the fatigue of such a life can be quite draining. I don't think the problem is that men do not talk about their feelings. I think the problem is that they often don't have someone to talk to. In addition, it can be quite hard to make new friends, especially when you are past your 20s. You know, people you are potentially interested in are married and have kids. They are preoccupied with their own lives. I felt very lonely and sad after my last long-term relationship ended. It took me over 6 months to find new friends, and I'm a hardcore extrovert. Still, I made a bunch of new friends within the past year or so. I'd like to encourage anyone who feels lonely to put yourself out there. Talk to people. If you like them, ask them if they like to hang out with you. Do you know how I became friends with one of my best friends? I straight up told him that I felt lonely and that I like him and would like to become friends with. Hi monsieur. And for those of you who already have plenty of friends and a busy life, Maybe make some room for people in your community who aren't as blessed as you are. This X1000. I tried to explain this exact situation to my current GF. Single men can be a loneliness that 99% of women will never comprehend. When you go through a breakup, you are now the solo loser who does everything alone. You are a creep. You are weird. Meanwhile, you can't express this to anyone because if you bring it up, it makes everyone around you feel very weird and uncomfortable. Because you are a fucking grown man. What does a female go through during a breakup? The exact opposite. She has a massive friend group who love to talk about this shit. And suddenly every single male in the world is trying to become her friend, aka trying to sleep with her. She will make more friends in one night of being single than a single male will make in 12 months. We are two different creatures and suffer from many different things. But I don't think females will truly ever understand what a single male can go through. Thoughts of suicide are serious and often. Scrolling through that post where men describe the lengths they go to avoid seeming creepy and predatory is insane. We definitely need to encourage boys and men to develop a healthy support system. And maybe we need to do more research on how to better raise children so they can actually function without the anguish. Compliment them, even if it's something small. Wow, that's a nice shirt. It looks good on you. Your hair looks nice today. A girl complimented my nose 4 years ago. Weird, I know, but I still remember that compliment. Nice dick, homie. Edit. Never thought complimenting a stranger's dick would lead to my Reddit metal cherry being popped. Thank you for it. Give us one compliment. Just one. A girl once said I had really pretty eyes. That shit was 7 years ago and I remember it perfectly because it's all I've gotten in 7 years. Stop telling them to man up or grow a pair because men suffer too. Treat their mental health seriously. When they are struggling with a problem, the only advice that is given to them to man up, which, in my opinion, they have, and they just need actual help. Destigmatize men talking about their feelings and thoughts. Also stop making everything a man says about their problems into, well, women, blacks, etc. have it worse. Edit. Yes, I know that blacks are people and can be male. I was blanket referencing the victim Olympics culture in general, not dehumanizing black people. Hugs, compliments and cuddles. Men does not get enough of these things. Work towards fixing the fact that most men have some form of depression. As Thoreau said, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Maybe if more of them could go camp out on a pond and get regular deliveries of snacks, it'd be different. Not abandon your best friend of 10 years after he begged you for help. Fuck you, saw monsieur. Fuck you, Sam, on this guy's behalf. Kill us yourselves. That way the suicide rate is lower. I'm something of an activist myself. Although we are encouraged to be open about how we feel or think, we can't. If something is a genuine problem and we verbalize it, the reaction is almost always others jumping down our throat as we have no right to complain, or mocking as we have supposedly been living privileged. It's become worse in recent years as we literally have to tiptoe around while being blamed for everything generations before us supposedly did. Most men alive today had no part in anything that was done to others. We were born into a different world where we have always been on the back foot, yet carry a lot of the blame and stigma from things we had nothing to do with. I'm expecting this post to get mass downvoted purely for openly saying what I personally live in. Experience. We don't talk about that shit because it gets hammered back at us. So we shut the fuck up and just keep going until we break. Then everyone is like, oh, you should have said something. No. We shouldn't, as it just creates more stress and makes things more difficult. And #X200B. You want to help? Then create an environment for men equal to that of everyone else instead of dwelling on the doings of long dead people and putting men separate and last. The thing about equality is that everyone is equal regardless of gender, sexuality and age, etc. People want to know what can be done to help. But when they know, it just gets buried again. It's easier to just not bring it up so we don't face all the BS and drama about how hard everyone else has it as if we live in golden castles. Too many people see the world through decades-old rose-tinted glasses. Things need to change. This is exactly correct. We're being told that we can open up. But when we do, we're shot down in the most horrible ways, which makes us close off even more than we did before. And I'd go so far as to say sometimes when we open up, people tell us that maybe we're actually a woman, when we're just upset. Masculinity being so harshly murdered and criticized is another problem. Because as men, what the fuck else can we be if we can't be masculine? I once opened up to a woman I truly believed would understand me. But she shut me down and deemed me weak. Never again. I think a big part of it is a sense of purpose. Increasingly, the work we do doesn't produce such apparent results. For instance, a man used to go into the woods and hunt an animal. It was very difficult, but when he came home with meat, his family could eat and everyone was thankful that they aren't eating soup again. Everyone loves Dad, but today, a man might go into the office, input some data, crunch some numbers, sign some paperwork, but what is he doing? Does his wife and kids appreciate it? Not as much. And it's not just work. Men used to mow their lawn, change their oil, repair things around the house, etc. But now all of that stuff is hired out to others. The result is that they don't feel useful or appreciated. And if they aren't useful, what is their purpose? It's kind of like generating versus consuming content. If you sit and watch YouTube all day every day, you will start to feel like a pretty worthless piece of shit. But if you create YouTube videos, you would feel like you're doing something, like you have a purpose. That applies to life in general. People are increasingly consuming more and creating less. I have noticed that when I start to feel down and depressed, it's because of this. It's usually when I haven't had any little wins in my life and I have just been kind of floating through and going through the motions. If I let that go for too long, I could see how it could lead to deep dark depression. So what can we do? Women, show your men affection and appreciation. Even if they don't do much good, at least show appreciation for the little good they do to motivate them to do better and grow. And men, do something. Help out around the house. Fix something. Draw something. Do something nice for your partner or your kids. Learn another language. Learn a musical instrument. Build something. Just be productive and try to limit the time you are consuming TV, video games, browsing the internet, reading fiction, social media, etc. You'll feel much more accomplished and healthy when you have more to offer the world, those around you, and yourself. A previous member of the Norwegian royal family committed suicide this Christmas. 50-year-old male. After this, the Prime Minister told the public that she wanted to investigate the mental health of the population, especially for girls. Sometimes I hate politics. We are failing our precious boys. Greater than sometimes I hate politics. We are failing our precious boys. Studies have also shown that modern schooling, from kindergarten through grad school, disproportionately favors styles more beneficial to women. Younger boys, for instance, aren't given the recess time to properly burn off excess energy, which leads to difficulties focusing in class and over-medication of young boys. Colleges are seeing women graduating at increasingly higher rates over men as well. None of that is bad, to be clear, but we shouldn't ignore that men are falling behind. I think what society has been able to do to empower women is excellent and needs to continue, but that we need to start working to make similar improvements for men as well. It's a hard subject to discuss without facing opposition claiming sexism, but the reality is that this is not a zero-sum game. Society can do better to provide modern solutions for men's problems without compromising on what we're doing already for women. We should work to maintain the growth rates women are seeing in graduation numbers while also working to bring men up to those same rates. For instance, issues like the lack of, and even public pushback against, battered men's shelters highlights that as a society we're failing to acknowledge the issues that men face have evolved and need to be acknowledged in the same way we do so for women's issues. As women take a more equal role in society, it should be expected that men begin to face issues traditionally associated with women and vice versa. Thank you for watching.